I'm still here. Sex for money is prostitution, unless you videotape it and call it pornography. This is how I feel about the hoax status question of Joaquin Phoenix's movie, I'm Still Here. I find it hilarious, and though it seems to take a few cues from mockumentaries like This Is Spinal Tap, Joaquin didn't invent a fictional rapper to portray, he becomes a rapper himself with his own name. Although he may have laughed his ass off at the screening of I'm Still Here, by which time he had dropped the weight and had his hair cut, suggesting that whatever he had done could easily be undone, and was therefore not really him. I get the feeling that everything in I'm Still Here, though perhaps staged, was pretty real. He really spent 18 months in character, at least while in public. He really wrote and recorded a bunch of music. He really put on a significant amount of weight and neglected his hair so that it matted. I get the feeling that the drugs, the patronage of sex workers, the vomiting, and the human shit were probably just as real. The latter, as well as the canine mating scene, invokes some real John Waters vibes. John Waters, whose film Pink Flamingos shows an actual killing of a chicken during a sex scene. I bet Waters would have dug I'm Still Here. I dig any film that includes the full Monty, which I'm Still Here does, as it is rare in the USA. What I really wish is to be able to hear the recordings Joaquin made of his rap music, as from the very brief exposure we get in the film, I think there is more there than some darn joke. In particular, the complication rap sounded like it was going to be pretty good once the intro was fixed, and I found it weird that Poofy Dad was shown cutting it off offended. The stage iterations of Joaquin's music never sounded as good as the snippets of his recordings or even his a cappella raps, possibly due to lack of experience. For example, near the end of the movie, when he raps I'm Still Here before cutting his show short and sabotaging his music to jump into the audience and beat up a heckler, he uses his voice lead track but is not in unison with it. You get the feeling that the energy of being on stage is hitting him differently from being alone in the studio, and his vocals are not fully explored enough to be able to perform consistently in both scenarios. It seems like he didn't rehearse very much with live accompaniment or a microphone, and yet expected it all to come together. Either that or he purposely wanted it to seem unpolished in order to perpetuate the joke aspect, sabotaging his music. He even balked at doing a sound check because he said he didn't want to give anyone a free show. I think there is an element of shyness. Even though he was interested enough in his music to write, record, and mix it, he was apprehensive about sharing it and felt it would go over better as a joke. What I don't understand is why we don't see him eating more, which he must have done a lot of to have gained so much weight during the course of filming. There's that shyness again. He doesn't mind letting us see him smoke a bowl, snort drugs up a prostitute's chest, or vomit and then show us the vomit in the toilet. But munching on a box of donuts or getting some late-night Chinese is out of the question. Actually, I have no idea what he eats. Apparently, he's a vegan. I doubt Joaquin would have gone and done things that truly disgusted him for 18 months, apparently without even being paid for it. It's one thing to take a role you don't like for a lot of money, but it's another thing to invent a personally disgusting role for yourself for 18 months for no money and at risk to your personal reputation and professional prospects. The quote about firefighters burning a ring around a fire to keep it from getting closer to the places we live seems to be the key to this. I think he was exorcising some personal demons, and it's fortunate for him that he had a framework in which to do so without getting into too much trouble. He was disillusioned with acting and tired of the performative aspect of his celebrity, and said he felt better after being able to act like a buffoon. Casey Affleck, who almost bankrupted himself making the movie, calls it a piece of performance art, not a hoax. It is peculiar how Joaquin is shown singing as a child, and then telling talk show hosts that he had no experience singing before Walk the Line. Is this supposed to show us that he is dishonest in the name of performative celebrity? The presence of a journalist's comment about his new music career overshadowing his most recent film makes one wonder if he didn't enjoy making Two Lovers and it triggered this episode. I guess I'll have to go watch that at some point. Since this is a Fixing Movies post, here is my fix. The one hole I found in this movie came during the scene when Diddy in the hotel room. When Diddy tells Joaquin that money is needed in order to properly make a record, just as with a movie, and asks Joaquin if he realizes that as an actor. Joaquin immediately comes to life and starts talking about the acting business. This seems like breaking character a little bit. I think it would have been more in character for him to say he was through with acting and didn't even want to talk about it. How was this movie allowed to show us Britney Spears' Nether Regions? Was that a personal favor or what? Also, I never thought of Ben Stiller as a handsome man, but I saw it in this movie when he had the beard and glasses. Just kidding. I love that this movie ends with the swimming trope. It's reminiscent of World's Greatest Dad, and I find it very effective. I also like the cool water song, it gets stuck in my head. I like to think that Joaquin and Casey, who appears on screen toward the beginning of the movie but very little at the end, maybe due to budget constraints, found cool water in each other in making this movie. I was so pleased to find that one day when I put in my DVD of Her and let all the previews play through because I didn't have my DVD remote in hand, that there was a little treat in store. An alternate menu loop. It was Joaquin with his ukulele, as in the regular loop, only he was singing something very evocative of the rap thing, talking about dropping bombs on your mom and her mom and all the moms, etc. Considering also that Joaquin recently gave a beat to Kanye that Kanye used in a recording, we know that his interest in rap is real. I think it's likely that Joaquin is going to release his album one day, maybe even more than one, and it will be the ultimate double dupe. Speaking for myself, Joaquin, I am ready to hear it.